Hello, Music Multiverse listeners. Welcome back to another album review Saturday 2025. This is episode 11. It's another Saturday in new music, and yesterday's releases, or there were like 12 mandatory, another 6 on top of that. That's 18. We're never going to get to it all. It's so disheartening. There should be, you know what? I'm putting it out to President Trump everyday Saturdays. There you go. That way we can get through everything. Then I would be able to make it through, right? Yeah. Fuck Greenland. I just need Saturdays. Anyway, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Don't turn off anything. Yeah, keep staying. This is an extension of beyondyourradio.com. There's an article written there with these 3 releases being reviewed. But since you're on the program and you're in this YouTube universe, what I do here is I invite the panelists, whoever wants to come on, and damn, is always there, it seems. This is 11 straight. Yes, that's right. That's right. If she does one more, I think that's a perfect bowling score, right? 12 frames. Yeah. Okay. So, and we give you usually 3, but today it's 4. Yeah, like I said, there's too many. There's too many. By the way, look at albums for today, because I'll be redoing that too, throwing albums in there from 2025 that I won't get to. So anyway, let's do this, right? We're at March 15th, and yesterday, again, a huge number of releases and all kinds of variety, but we've got to bring it back some. So I'm going back a bit in this year. We spend some time with these 3 albums. I spent an enormity of time with these 3. 3 very different albums. Not only that, we hung on because one of them is from Buffalo, New York. Yay! And we were at the CD release. There you go. Not down for. There you go. And right now I will put in the video snippet.
And you hide yourself behind every joke. I'm left in the dark wondering, how can you be so careless? First look at the storm you turned and ran out in the rain alone.
All right, now that we got that out of the way, this is at a popular place called the Town Ballroom, where Muse to Miles Davis and back to St. Vincent, whatever. Everybody's played the Town Ballroom that's big. So for them to fill that kind of place with something else. Then we take a familiar indie folk rock trip that should have seemed familiar and automatic, but it seems less than that, and more of something we knew was there on the surface before. Or is that just me? Finally, we get blown into the vastness of musical composition at the hands of a very young pianist and composer that is beyond this musical world. Let's go polar to polar. And of course, if you're an album review Saturday enthusiast and you love to read, like nobody on the planet apparently, go over at beyondyourradio.com. The article's written there. You know, there's just so much out there. We just can't resist all this shit. So we start off in Buffalo, New York with Grosh. Start Again. Now, if you're not familiar with Grosh, I don't know how you would be. If you are, I'm amazed. Okay, you can write in your comments here. That's great. I think if you were, they got a generational guitarist that has a grace and complication beyond her first name. They have a soulful and rock alternative voistress that can turn some heads. And the rest, well, that was a discovery from the live show. Brand new CD release party for Start Again is the name of the album. And that kind of helped me understand a bit more beyond the production of the band's 3rd release. So let's Grosh. I didn't write this particular piece, so hang in there. A genre blending powerhouse that effortlessly melds hard rock, blues, and funk into a unique sonic experience. Awarded Best Local Original Music Act by the Buffalo Spree. The quartet recently recorded their latest album at the iconic Sonic Ranch in Texas. Yeah, why would you stay in Buffalo to record? solidifying their place among, that wasn't in the writing, by the way, with a live presence as electrifying as their studio recordings. Grosh delivers a visceral, unforgettable performance, leaving audiences captivated by their raw energy and undeniable talent. But it's very true. The vocal authority and growing talents and scales of Megan Brown exhibit exactly what she was born to do: bring the performance and vocal together so the song's lyrics and musicianship can breathe as one and ensnare the listener to a different attention. And that's what happens live. Does that happen on the album? I'll get to that. Grace, and I think it's Logan's, right? Guitar knows no bounds, but she plays the tones and solos that give unique character, muscle, and untold melodies to the entire compositions. This is not a woman who wants to be thrown to the threshold of the beginning and the ultimate thing you're hearing, but it melds in within everything that's being created. She's exceptional with her instrument, and her songwriting is an extension of how to make her guitar soar in and out in a genre-spinning way that envelops everything around Grosh's sound and passion for creativity. Now, then there's Josh English on the drums. He's the snap, he's the pounce, and the attack, which is the mix of, I don't know, soul trapped in classic rock, stoner rock. It's not afraid to bang this and be grungy or be progressive when the spirit hits and where it's necessary. Then there's the bass guy, Dylan Hund. All right. Now, Dylan, bassists here, they'll get love, as they should. Yeah. Not only is he a backbone of Grosh's kind of soul-stealing rhythm, but he's the kind of chameleon required to turn on the genre-bending dime, which is required by the band's pursuits and bridge work that kind of goes from soul rock to progressive rock to alternative, depending. But there he is, right? Doing his thing. Plus, live, he's a giant on stage. And just the juxtapositioning he does with his hands. He plays on the top, he plays on the bottom. He makes his little expressions that are that make up for the facial expressions of Grace. But I don't normally list the band when I do these kind of things. But goddamn, these four in the place they are right now, I found it rightful that I had to do so. So there it is. Start Again should satisfy the classic rock and soul purists. But where are you, Deb? I know you've been a long time fan of the band.
I have actually. I kind of went back to revisit how I came upon this band. It was actually 3 years ago this month. Saw them at a really cool venue downtown, the Sportsman Tavern. It's it's one of those places you expect to see some upstarts, but you can see some people that have been out there for a long time and really like to be in that kind of a venue where it just feels like where it all started, But since then, I've seen them at least 10 times. Outdoor venues, indoor venues, at festivals, East Aurora Music Fest, Music is Art, Ellicottville Fall Festival. And then, of course, we saw them at the Town Ballroom last weekend. I was brought to this band by a friend that knew me very well, and listeners of this show would know my favorite band is Led Zeppelin. And when they play live, they incorporate a lot of their own songs, but a lot of covers, and they do a Zeppelin song that I forgot which one it is. It goes, and they do a medley with Eleanor Rigby, and don't know if it's Cashmere, but it's what I'll have to look it up, but check it out. It's amazing the way they arrange this. Megan Brown, the lead singer, she has a really sultry voice. She has the female vocals that I am drawn to. But she's a powerhouse too, and Robert Plant can be sultry and a powerhouse. Grace's got that Jimmy Page kind of presence on stage. I just love her. I've seen the girls of Grosh a couple times too. It's just Megan and Grace. And then I've seen Grace play in a couple different formats where she's just doing acoustics with a folk singer. So that's pretty interesting. So they come from a
Yeah,
wide
Joan
range of,
Baez, I believe, was one of the
yes,
covers or
yep,
something. I recall.
exactly. And then when I kind of looked them up because I wanted to know a little bit more about them for the show, but Megan has toured and on stage with other bands like Weezer and Theory of a Dead Man and Tea Party. Yes, Tea Party. I have to find out what show where that was. Um, Dylan Hunt has been on a stage uh that shared a place with Nugent's band coming on afterwards. So, and you can hear him that he's got that kind of really forceful bass playing. Josh English with the Goo Goo Dolls, of course.
Mhm.
And Grace herself was voted best blues guitarist in Buffalo a few times, I believe. Um, this album itself, I love the name of it, Start Again. That's my personal motto. Every few years, I just start again. Let's just do it all over because it's not working. So I'm feeling them. Um, it it was an interesting album because, like I've said, I've seen them every other time where they play some of their own tracks and then some of their covers, and it kind of breaks everything up. So my first experience in listening to an album by them, start to finish, I felt that the very first song um, was it? I can't remember the name of the first song,
First
but
song,
then there was a couple. The
Small Talk.
first two
Small Talk is the
songs,
first song.
what was it?
Small Talk is the first song.
Yeah, Small Talk, and then Don't Trust Nobody. Those were really high powered, but I liked how in this album they brought some of that back to something more calm, sultry. Not maybe the entire song that comes next, but at least it kind of brings you back to center and you kind of feel a little bit more relaxed so that your ears are ready to hear what's going to come next. And you can hear the flavors of Megan's voice a little bit more when they do that. So you know that she has range. She doesn't have to just belt it out to get her point across. And I I thought that all in all, it was good. But as I listened to it more and more over the course of the week, it started to really grow on me more and got my head out of, well, that didn't sound like Led Zeppelin, or that didn't sound like this. It's starting to, for me, I'm starting to say that sounds like Grosh. And I think that's what they would want,
Yeah.
right? I mean, they don't want to be likened to somebody else all the time. But my favorite song on the whole album was Mansplain.
Mm.
I love the syncopated beats of that. I liked it was a little off kilter in places, kept you guessing about what the next measure was going to sound like, the next phrase was going to sound like. I really like that song. So all I can say is I'm so glad my friends went with me to this show and that my very good friend is reviewing this for these guys because I'd love to have them on a show.
Yeah, be great. Especially in their draw to Buffalo and
Yep.
how hard it is to get out of this town as a musical act to the world.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, that happens because you're being bombarded by Canada as well. So
Mm-hmm.
it's very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
It should have a great reminder of the temperament required, the skill for bridging and careful crashing to make seamless connections for each instrument, and have a vocalist that can slide, bounce, and head bob into it, like, and a ferocity that equals women of the past. I won't mention these women because it doesn't matter. Whether it's
Right.
paced like an alternative rock riff or a soul, steamy, classical, progressively positioned piece, the band is sequentially on it, and live it's even more so, and it's exacerbated. So I could say exacerbated, but I had a hell of a time saying effortlessly. So here's the line in the recording sand I'm going to draw.
Okay.
Start Again is a well-recorded album in the grand scheme of the placement and time of the band. Funding, I assume, is difficult, as well as growth of the artist that's involved. This is the third record now, and there's a definite growth in there in sound and how they record and how they connect to the song. Um, and I know it's a long, hard road, and being there last weekend to witness it, uh, play the venue to a rather large facility, which they have not been in, and a crowd that was decently gathered. It was enough.
And the demographics of the crowd were quite interesting too.
Yes,
I
yes,
mean, I'm 62 years old, but there were 20 some year olds there. So
yes.
that's encouraging too.
Yep, yep. Well, I'm hoping the band is in that frame of range of age. Otherwise, the longer road than I even told here. I will say that, that was a welcoming crowd, except for the usual rude talkers near the stage. Why do fuckers do this? I have no idea, but maybe that's another show. These are areas of recording. There are areas in the recording that don't share the depth of the band. They seem to be all on the same recording, the track. Nothing falls, nothing drops. I mean, it does, but it doesn't fall dramatically. It doesn't escalate. I remember when the band started off, and when we were talking with Deb on the ride home, I said there was definitely a way to get the sound right because something wasn't in its purest realm, especially for her, the vocalist. And that's always the problem. The vocalist always suffers first when things go the way they do. There are songs like How Long You Gave that are spot on and work tremendously and equally well live. Again, that's the two of them, I believe, in the guitar. Then there's Mansplain, which for some reason, in a more live, it's a more connected than the recording to me. And I'm not talking about the drum intro, that's great, or the familiarity of the rock blues riff. This is why Deb loves it so much, because
of course.
definitely it is Zeppelin's start, right? And they actually use
Yeah.
it again in I think the very next song in Head First.
Yep.
So the actual musicianship part by part is executed, but the calling, and she even says it, for a little respect, falls so flat to me. And there's nothing flat about her vocal. That
No.
bothered me this whole time that I've been listening to this record. This is 6 or 7 times now. And I can't put my finger on it, where, how, and the only thing I can think of is the ability to change the depth of the recording. To bring her vocal forward, maybe not even record it at the same time, record it separately, play on things. I've not been with the band long enough to hear these things, but I will say that I was wondering, in the change of inflection, which is so fucking important, right? Especially in a female vocal. Well, actually in a male too. I guess I'm being sexist there. But it's just that they I don't know, they're watched more. All right? They're under severe scrutiny.
Yeah.
Listen, Neil Young's on stage, and I go, what was the inflection there? I don't even know what his inflection was. It's just not going to matter. But her,
Yeah, you're true.
matters.
Yeah, it does.
So,
the whole package.
Yeah, so it seemed to not drive like it should have. Head First also follows this a bit with the same track and compression. Maybe it's being compressed. I don't know. I'm not a producer, but I just know that this album sounded better than the priors. Really brought the band to this part, right? And now it's a question of, could the live performance make, and this is what you want as a band. You want your live performance to be better than your record, because people can stay home and listen to the record. And she was definitely engaging, right? Grace is beyond engaging with how she plays guitar, etc., right? And the band itself altogether. And they did some things that a band of their earliness, we'll call it, it's not really that early, but would not attempt, I don't think. Drum solo wouldn't happen. You'd be so like, we got to deliver it the way it is. I think they were very relaxed. Except there's just a tremendous connectivity with each having a command of their instruments. Yes, Grace will certainly astound you, as would be the case with many bands in this kind of spotlight. And while I'm not singling her out, she is a necessity in stupendous that is required for a band to become bigger than that which they are. Right? You got to have a Sting. That's a bassist. You got to have a Beth Hart. You got a vocalist who could do that. And Grace, you have to have a Jimmy Page or a what was my my artist that Jeff Beck.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure this woman could. It's an extension of her, which is what Beck is. So I think I even say in this that there's a point where she does this there's so much genre and intense changes in scope within the tracks that it becomes progressive. In my, it's not, there was a piano, don't get me wrong, organ in the live performance. I don't get that as much in the studio,
Yeah.
right? But there is probably, but they don't even mention it. I mean, I will never leave your side doesn't happen.
Of yours, you left it behind before. The memories always fight to keep you close. If I could find the reason why you can feel the beauty everyone waiting for to realize this I would give anything.
Okay, which is one of the songs. It doesn't happen if she can't slide and play Pretenders. Okay,
Yeah.
Jeff Becker.
Yes.
So that is this band together. It has more possibilities than I can say. There's something for everyone in Start Again. There's a growing need for Grosh in the music multiverse, and I'm comfortable in saying the following, as if anyone's going to quote me in advertisements or on their band site. Well, actually,
Never
that's
know.
happened.
Yeah, it has happened before.
So here I go. Grosh is a unique, soul-filled triumphancy on stage, merging its rock into a role of all it desires. And you will deserve it, and you'll desire it too. Stick around. I promise they have the energy and talent required to be big.
I love them.
So, the Lumineers, Automatic. It just doesn't seem like an indie folk rock band's cover.
No, it seems like a nightmare from my childhood. TV's off.
Yes, I have to go to bed now. Son of a bitch. All right. We're 5 albums in, and when the first track comes on and into my music multiverse listening ears, I'm immediately transported to their familiarity, or at least I think I am. Automatic is how it feels. It feels good, and the band is even pulling a Neil Young, stating the same old song. And that's your first song.
Mm.
And I have to conquer, I guess, because, well, I have to concur, I guess, with the
Concur.
pronunciation of
Conquer.
that. But what I'm starting to feel is the fact that the band is taking a back seat, leaving the momentum and musicianship at its place and being intentional to get you to be wrapped into the lyrical content and the message that's being delivered. And at first, I turned it off because it was annoying.
Really?
I started thinking I was hearing the same timing and disbursement with very little divergence to keep my interest. And the next song had the wait a minute. What I'm saying is the pace was slower in the next song, but the timing and the signature was still the same, making the delivery fall a bit on my deaf ears at this point. But like normal, I have to take my listening out of the equation, and after the first listen, and remember what I've been working on and all this time. So instead of being the asshole and write a review on a single listen, thinking I know what I'm hearing about, I back up and I reset because this is truly something that was not going to be automatic.
Shooting stars, driving your electric cars, eating at the salad bars, praying for the rain. With a broken heart, studying the patience chart, ordering the caviar, giving it a name.
So Deb, let you continue before I.
Oh, well, it's just funny because, I always listen on Amazon Music, and they sometimes don't put the album cover on there. They've got some background from another album cover or whatever, and they just look like Amish people to me. And I had to stop looking at it because they got the hats and, but that's them. Did you know their original band was named Free Beer? Because
No, I did not know that. I know it's only two
Well,
of them, right? There are only two
yeah.
of the duo, right?
Yeah, it's just two of them. Free beer because they wanted to go play and get free beer. So I guess let's order some free beer.
I'm gonna change the name of my this television show.
Yeah, there you go.
Free
Their
sex.
influences are wide ranged. I mean, they cite Bob Dylan to GNR to Pearl Jam to Beethoven. Well, of course, Beethoven better be, if you can play piano, you better like Beethoven.
There's a great thing. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So they're very much into movements that have social impact. I like that about bands. I think that when you have a platform that people can listen, as long as you're not getting too full of yourself and you're pick and choosing the things that will make the most impact, I think that's important. But as far as this album goes, the piano, as always, it was warm and fuzzy for me. I've always liked their piano. Feel I guess I feel comfortable in their music. Some of the songs that I was drawn to, I mean, I think their songwriting is interesting. I read some of the words and lyrics and I'm thinking, oh, I wish I could do that. They're saying what I'm feeling, but I would never be able to put it down that way. Um, the name of the one song, Plasticine,
Hmm.
I've only heard that word used one other time, and that's in Lucy in the Sky and
Okay.
Diamonds. Plasticine Porters with looking glass eyes. Um,
There's
so I think
another one
that's
for
I
Plasticine Dream, and I can't think of who sings it.
oh yeah, that too. Better Day was kind of sad, sweet, almost longing, begging. I like that song. I think this band is underrated, really. I think that people kind of think the Lumineers are just some kind of popsy, mm, one-dimensional band, but I can hear more to it. And I've liked them. I wasn't disappointed. I didn't get the same feeling as you did on the start, but I hadn't listened to anything else for the week either. I started with them, and I knew that I liked them, but I'm not one of those fans that know every single song and every single word and blah blah blah. And so I think maybe that helps me not being so uh let down if I'm anticipating something, because I'm not really anticipating much other than it's the Lumineers. So that's what I got from that album. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah. So the first time we met, I'm thinking asshole, and I would be right. That's part of the lyrical line, in case you're wondering. I wasn't in the right place, the right listening habit, the time signature and pace of the record was not connecting with me. And although I will drop right into those that are probably obsessed with the Lumineers, it completely fits their line and everything.
Mhm.
I think it should make them stop and reassess instead of plodding along thinking everything is going to be just automatic. Because it's not. This album is not the same as their other recordings, really, in all
No.
honesty. Suddenly, I'm hearing the Wesley Schultz and Jeremiah Freites, who finally gets his piano a little bit brighter on this overall album, but on this particular track, which is automatic, are
Mhm.
putting down the sincerity of it over the easy swallowing folk rock and indie rock timing. So it's almost like this is an album that had me at and then brought me back into my audio senses. And I said, it's like Alanis Morissette embodied the text and the storytelling. There's clever rhyming schemes and habitual shit going on. And first and foremost, allowing me to go back and let the musical integrity find its place, from the acoustics to mellotron, bass, and even the
Mhm.
small programming that's going on here, which is probably not normal for them. The album is far from automatic, I'm sure, but for the Lumineers, I have a feeling that the natural progression and songwriting palette required will intensify, as does this record. At every listen that I've had, now this is four. Um, would you sell me out the first chance you got? Is the lyrical line. I
Mhm.
guess the answer is no, I wouldn't. I'm ready to leave. Keys on the table and not drive off without going back. Listening better and finding the timing was just off for me. Don't always go off half cocked. There's a responsibility in all of this. And we've all got to be that way, right? And this is the Lumineers' best album to date for me. And no matter where you fall in the fan base, this is a huge time for them. Gabrielle Olaf, Polar, if you can. This does not do it justice. Go look at the cover yourself. It's incredible.
Mhm.
To hear a pin drop across the music multiverse, you have to be an obsessive like me, I'm pretty sure. Polar is not an album that's going to be showcased across the world in record stores, except maybe one copy in the classical genre arena. It's certainly not going to come up on the place of first, second, third, or fourth pages of Amazon.com if that's where you search or purchase. It's certainly not going to show up on the professor's picks on Sea of Tranquility or get sudden discussion of new albums that came out in February 28th, 2025, and I'm not sure if anyone is even talking about it. Who talks classical meets minimalism meets compositional soundscapes these days? Please deliver them unto me, and I will give them rest. However, this particular release week, February 28th of 2025, they actually did get higher up on the list, as it was not in competition with anyone overly famous or in heavy rotation whatsoever. So is that why it came to me? I don't know, but I will tell you this, based on some things that happened during the week and things that I did, there's this familiarity of a record company called OLI, One Little Indian, who has Bjork on their label. Now, if you're on OLI, they got their shit going on, and they don't really care whether you're famous or not. They believe in you, they know the sound, and they appreciate greatness. And I'm saying greatness, okay? Bjork and a band called No Man, which I just discovered back from the 90s. They should have been astoundingly out there and popular, and everyone should have guarded them. But instead, they guard them now. And they're not even the band they were then. They're Porcupine Tree.
Oh.
No Man, just in brevity, go to watch album for today where I talk about that. I'll leave a link in the description. I think this is an album. It's actually not an album. This is a box set that everyone should have. This is 90s elegant pop that is amazing. So where am I to say this? It's that OLI knows greatness, and they know that it's going to come at a horrible expense, that no one's going to hear it, see it, be on it, and they will do anything and everything they possibly can in their One Little Indian, One Little Independent label size, try tremendously to make it happen. So I am here as that guy, that champion, to tell you, if you hear only one recording for this entire half of the year or the entire year from a classical pianist composer, soundscape genre, it has to be Polar. Gabriel's piano and architecture for his mammoth recording has everything that a growing, mature ear and starving ear lover should be smitten with. The depth of the looking glass of music that this album has from the very start to the very finish is so purely elegant, spacious, and profound in every ivory or string, storytelling, devoted arrangements that you can feel, even see, or emotionally be impacted by. Ocean Sonata for the harp is the very essence of the beauty of creation, and in some dark space, it feels like it's fading away potentially. Deb?
Oh my gosh. I think I texted you at one point and said, I'm kind of stuck in this album. I just am, and that I'm surprised because this isn't my thing. I mean, I love piano, I love classical music. I don't sit around listening to it. I probably, because I had to practice my clarinet when I didn't want to practice my clarinet or practice my piano. But anyway, I'm glad you mentioned about Bjork, because actually I read that it was his manager that saw Olaf's first live performance on TV and said, we need to get him. We need to get a hold of him. 26 years old, give me a break. What
Yeah.
the hell? I mean, he's got so much time left. I mean, what are we going to hear from this guy? And two of his quotes that I think, if you just read these quotes before you listen to this album, it will set you up for exactly what you're going to hear. He said, I believe music itself is a form of interspecies communication.
Mhm.
He has a whale overture on here. He's got the whale variation, the names of his songs, the Ocean Sonata for harp, all of that. You can tell that he grew up in Iceland, right? I mean, they're immersed in nature there all the time. But the other thing that he said was, I've always wondered what a world of ice would sound like. And that's what it felt like to me. You know, when you're outside and it's just calm and dark and you've got the moon glowing and it's just snow on the ground and in the trees, and it's just almost like this hollow sound around you that you could, if a bird tweeted 40 miles away, you would hear it because the air is so open and crisp and clean. That's what this album sounded like to me. And it's very sweeping and enveloping, but it in a subtle way, you know, and it was ambient, but not so ambient that you're like, where is this going? You know, you lost me. It never lost me. And my favorite song was Ocean Sonata for harp. And it reminded me of when I was in middle school and high school. We had one person in our school, and she was a rich girl, but she played harp. And I always thought her parents are a trooper. They had to get a vehicle to put that harp in there. And that is a commitment that you make for your child when she says, I want to play harp. So I'm drawn to harp. You don't hear harp very much as far as a front forward instrument. You'll hear it in the background, but that song was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. This guy's a genius, Mert.
Yes. Yeah. I'm afraid so at 26. I don't want to, go. Well, yeah, we're gonna. Elements in music, especially this kind of music, are completely necessary and devouringly so is Polar. Gabrielle Olaf's Icelandic heritage, beautiful piano, heartfelt, worldly compositions across a landscape of instruments is truly monumental at this time. And at the early age of 26, my music ears tell me that the music multiverse hasn't even begun to realize what accomplishments are forthcoming. He is the kind of artist and music impressionist that could change the very landscape of the sound of classical composition and that of movie soundscapes as well, as I'm sure there's somebody out there going, ooh, get this guy. I bet you he can make it sound like we want it to.
Mhm.
Those elements he commands so effortlessly are going to leave a gigantic impression like Polar's album cover does. This is an album that will be in the top albums of 2025, and it won't harbor a flute, and it won't be familiar, or it won't have basic beat that amoeba can keep time to. It will be from a beauty of harp, violin, viola, and a genius pianist as the composer. Now, as a sidebar here, Polar Traveler's Log is the optional narrative journey that you can take into this incredible composition. I guess this is where Words to a Traveler, a second person narrative written by Rebecca Roanhorse. I think she wrote Between Earth and Sky. And it's delivered by Ira Ilmar, who did Mortal Engines. For the most part, they are interceded with the instrumental pieces, save for the opening and closing segments where they overlap. So while listening to Traveler's Log, one becomes immersed in the story and concerned for both the narrator and the subject, which again leads me to why this is such a profound piece of work on all levels and for all music. So on top of all that, somehow we managed to get 4 albums in after the fact. So you're getting 7 albums for the price of 3. Sounds like a BMG special.
Yes, it does.
We start off with Wilder Woods, Curioso. And why did we start there? Well, my intention was to, at the beginning, and this is how things go once you listen to things over and over again, my intention was to have the Lumineers at the end and say, this is how it should have been done. And I retract because I'm like, maybe I didn't get Wilder Woods. When I was troubled by the pace and timing of the Lumineers, I said, I'm more drawn to this Wilder Woods guy. I think this is kind of alt country indie rock approach. It had automatic familiarity, it had a groove, which Lumineers did not have, a pace that was in and out, some clever
Mhm.
pitches, and it kind of bring my ear back to what is basically the similar passion of the Lumineers and other similar bands in that. It was bigger in sound and punchier.
Mhm.
Damn.
Well, I read a little bit about him and they classified him as alternative indie. I heard a lot more country in this
Mhm.
album for me.
Yep.
Not that that's a bad thing because I prefer country, but I like more of a adult contemporary country feel. It wasn't twangy or anything like that. I mean, he does come from Greenville, South Carolina. His real name is Bear Reinhardt. Uh,
Oh,
Wilder Woods, they're the names, first names of his two sons.
oh,
Um,
okay.
he was named for Bear Bryant of University of Alabama, and Bear himself was a standout college football wide receiver at a small college in Greenville, South Carolina. So there's a little bit about him. His vocals don't really do it for me. There's something about it that leaves me kind of I guess perplexed a little bit, but I did like his collaborations on this album. I liked
Yeah,
the
maybe.
one song that had, who was it, Anna Graves,
Mhm.
Maggie Rose
Yes.
from Wildfire. Well, she's a country singer, right?
Hmm.
Um, I did like the blues feel in Devil in My Eyes. And when you talked about Lumineers, I felt like the Descendants had a Mumford and Sons feel to
Yeah,
it.
here's another good comparison.
Yeah, did you feel that
Or
too?
genre, a
Yeah,
wheelhouse of things. Yeah.
yeah, not particularly them because they're just so, you know,
Hmm.
identifiable. You can't miss it. But in all, I think that if I listened to this more and got used to his vocals, they wouldn't bother me. And I mean they would be more pleasing. They're not bad. It's just that I'm not familiar with him and I didn't have as much time to spend on this album to really start to enjoy it more. So I feel like I'm not giving it a fair shake.
Yeah, makes sense. I was smitten with Where Do We Go From Here?
Am I playbook that I can't escape? Wash my hands of the way that I won the arms race. On my feet to flame as I need the pain. I feel like in the ocean. Such a night, all little too much to say. Shine like a high moon, stealing out in the country. You ain't got the right way, I ain't got the time. So I say, where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go?
And yes, your
Mhm.
whatever
Yeah,
that song is, that one sticks out too. But yeah,
Devil in My
Devil in
Eyes.
My Eyes. Yeah, yeah, definitely punchy, kicky. Got
Yeah,
it'd be a great opening band for many of those artists, and then
absolutely.
the rabbit holes.
Yeah. He'd be really a great, I went to that festival, Rock the Country last summer. That's the feel I got from that. He'd be a great live act for sure.
Yeah, yep. So then we go. So again, we're not following any trajectory. Let's check out Winona Fighter. My apologies to the chef. So why is this on there? Well, I fancy myself as a decent chef, so my
Yes, you
apologies
do.
to the chef was an interesting difference
Yes.
of vernacular. So I was like, "What the?" So there you go. There will be no anger suppression. So let's just let the stress out, and it's got some stress points that hit home. It's got some fever. It's got style. That it's not going to be anything mind blowing in any way, shape, or form. But it's honest. It's wheelhouse. It's rock post punk with a passion for being pissed, stressed, battle born, and war torn. But it's great that the lyrics and the band seem to understand that it's the way it has to be. You don't have to change it. But when you do that, you got to have the delivery. And Winona, if that's the lead singer, I didn't look.
I don't know it. I don't know.
It's definitely not Winona Ryder, although
No.
I get the idea here. All right. I think it works very well. The drummer helps immensely. He's got
Yeah.
some shit going on.
Go got pulled over and I'm getting closer to blowing my fucking brains out of money. Ain't it lovely to do the same old thing? I don't even know if I really even know what's going down, but do I even wanna know? Hey, who just walks away? Got a sharp and nice, I just can't play nice.
And the album's production style, perfect. Do it, right? I think they want it badly, and it sounds like it. So, in this genre, I'm going to give them my grosh my grosh approval.
Okay.
Okay, what do you think?
Well, I was surprised who their influences were. So it's not what they sound like.
No.
They cite the Foos, the Pearl Jam, Audio Slave, and Creed. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, well, don't read that first and expect any of that on this
Yeah,
album
I don't
at
think while
all.
she's singing, her eyes are wide open at all. I think it's more like,
No, no, no. They're a self-proclaimed DIY punk band, and what they say is if you're comfortable, you aren't doing enough. So they like to push themselves a little bit. You know, she did remind me a little bit of who's the singer that's now with Linkin Park, the girl from Dead Sarah.
yes, that would
Yeah,
be,
I had
yeah,
a little tone to that.
I would say that's
The
pretty.
names of their songs are just awesome. You look like a drunk Phoebe Bridgers. Oh my God. Um, there was one of the which song was it? Talk Guitar. That had like a Van Halen Panama David Lee Roth feel to it, the way it started. I liked Swimmer's Ear because her voice was a little bit more brought down a few notches. You could hear her vocals a little bit better. They weren't so, I wouldn't say angsty because I don't say that they're angsty. They're just want you to know what they're talking about, right? They're just high energy, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
They
I thought
don't
Hams
they
in a Glass was definitely, they were, she's stressed, she's pissed, she's saying you're
Yeah,
allowed to
well
be
that's
angry, and I'm not suppressing it, and I loved it. And I'm in the market. I'm I'm in the market to please no one. Yes, it sounds
yeah,
like my
that's
dog.
what I have it on here. I love that. I love that. And the one song that was interesting, they kind of tricked me. I think you should leave. It starts out with a blues feel, but
Hmm.
no, it isn't.
No, no.
It breaks away from that and it brings you back to who they are.
Yeah.
So that was a fun album.
Yes,
That's all
very
I
fun.
could
I
say. It
think
was
anybody
fun,
would enjoy it. Absolutely.
fun, fun, fun.
Absolutely. All right, Aloe Black. Yeah, we're not going on any. We're all over the place, right? Stand Together. Now, Aloe Black has that smooth, direct vocal that can always move into a genre and make it soulfully his own. However, there is a ton of shit production on this record, tracking, programming that takes away from the delivery, minimalizes it, so to speak. His vocal is the same foreground and this tinty production tricks and drum tracking. Maybe there were live people that played drums, but I don't think so. I really don't.
Mm,
It's soulless to a soulful delivery vessel. And that seems to me to be, I don't know, like you're sinking your own ship. The words fall into a place where I don't feel any impact. They're not, I don't know, there's not a low to high range going on because he can command a certain performance.
right.
Don't get me wrong, that does happen later on Shine.
In the darkness of despair, where your fears grow deep inside, and no one seems to care, and all your hope has nearly died. Well,
And What's Going On, which is a reggae cover.
Oh yeah,
No,
I know.
no.
That's in my notes right here. No.
Ah, this is not an album that feels like it's making any kind of stand. I don't think it's together. This is yachty stuff. This is yacht pop. This is yacht gonna happen in my house. Damn.
I was disappointed, and only because when I first started listening to it, I mean, I didn't know who he was. You
Oh, you
know,
didn't? Okay.
no, I didn't. Well, wait, I
Okay.
didn't think I knew who he was. So I'm listening to his voice and I'm going, I know this guy's voice from somewhere, but from a long time ago, I think. So I listened one time through and then I decided to look him up and he's from Panama, right?
Yep.
Panamanian, right?
Yeah.
You don't hear a lot of
You grew
that's
up
his
on Van
type,
Halen. No.
as we just talked about.
Yeah.
But I'm reading through his albums and his songs and I saw I Need a Dollar.
Mm.
And I have a funny story. I was
Oh,
in the
good.
car 2010, 2009, whatever it was with my kid, and he's got his headphones on and he starts singing, I need a dollar, a dollar, a dollar, right? And he looks at me and he goes, Mom, did you get that? I need a dollar, a dollar, a dollar. I go, you need a job, job, job.
Yeah.
And so I had a connection there because of that. And that was it. That's where I'm going to leave it. I had a connection to him from a song from 15 years ago. So, and it wasn't even a connection where I could say that's the best song in the world. So, I was disappointed, lackluster. And especially after all the other albums that we did this week, I guess you can't expect them all to be like that. But maybe that's why it even seemed more lackluster.
Let's finish this off because since we've gone to all these realms and we don't go to the realm that I usually am in, why don't we weed demon for a bit and the doom scroll? It's time to take sludge, stone, or stroll on the edge of hell for maybe you're in between hell and the ether that is around surrounding hell, and allow the dark metal riff of just to sabotage your soul, because this is where this definitely lies. And I think the growling vocals are from Satan himself. If you don't believe me, here's Comatose. It gives you all you need to know about the placement of this darkly smitten riff band. And yes, that's Whorehound guesting on that particular track. This is your Keep It Dark moment on Album Review Saturdays, and worth your Bandcamp scrolling track to track, because it might tempt your demonic ear for sure. Long, massive songs with nothing but riff punishment for all to enjoy and awake into the doom that it's meant to surround you in, I guess.
Thanks for giving me the week off on that.
Yeah, that's. What did you think of these albums? Let us know in the comments. Like what you like, leave what you don't. Hey, it's up to you. Subscribe to the channel for more. Subscribe to the channel because, God, I'd like to make this a living. Yeah, by the 2036, maybe, the way it's going. I don't advertise. I don't put things out there. I know thousands of people click on and view, but really the people that watch, I love you guys to death. There's a lot of good people that chime in on the show. It's fun. But anyway, thank Deb for doing this for the 11th time. She's going for a dozen next week. Do I have anything piffy to say about next week? Let me see. Oh boy. We're going to take a drive to Golden Armor if you want to go along with us. And in the extra 3, touch me my flute. Give me my flute. Bring the flute. God damn it. We need more flute.
I'm so excited.
We're on the web at beyondyourradio.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, of course, articles, videos, podcasts. Go Beyond Your Radio with us. I'll see you tomorrow for Unknown Sundays. It's time for Hedvig Malmstad Trio. Thanks for watching and happy listening.
Bye.